morning, everyone. Again, everybody's starting to open across the country, and I have a very dear friend with me, Taylor Fields. Hello, Taylor. How are you this morning?
Hi, Alan.
Although
Excited to talk to you this morning.
Except you're in Alabama and I'm in California, but we can do this cross country anyways, right?
Right.
And believe it or not, it's going to be, they said 109 this week, but there actually is still snow on the mountain. So welcome to the desert. You know?
That's right. Just like your background.
Exactly, right? Taylor, a lot of you guys know Taylor. He works for PCH Hospitality. They're in a lot of different things, but we're going to talk about Marriott hotels and spas today, aren't we?
Yep, that's right. So we have 6 of our properties that have spas, happen to be Marriott franchised locations. So we started opening up the properties last week and going through that process. So excited to share some information about that.
Start at the beginning for me. When did you open? Literally, was it last week that Alabama said go?
So it was last week on Monday, I believe. It was actually, yes, last Monday, May 11th was when the order it was amended, and spas were able to open up with strict guidelines. Spas and recreational facilities such as gyms, etc., were able to open up for treatments. Some of the limitations with that were the spa facilities such as waiting areas, whirlpool, sauna, steam rooms, locker areas. All of that is unavailable for the time being until we see other restrictions lifted from that order that's in place.
Okay. Did you open the front well, you opened the back of the house, obviously, but is the front of the house retail, is that open as well?
Yes, so that has opened at each of the locations. So essentially the guest is able to come in and shop retail if they would like to, or, book an appointment for services. So our first location that opened was actually Tuesday after that Monday order expired.
And how did, there's no samples or anything anymore, right? That thing is done.
Yep, that was one of the protocols that I put into place, is that any testers would be removed from the shelves unless they were in a pump type bottle, but still pulling all testers and having the front desk associates assist the guest with testers so they could be sanitized after each use. So.
Got it. Boy, how that will change our world, right? I mean, how often have we been dealing with trial packages and sample products and everything along the way? Before you opened, how did you communicate to staff and clientele? And then what's changed after last Tuesday in your communication with both staff and clientele?
So it seems that as soon as our location started closing down due to the state orders, it was, planning time. What protocols and procedures do we need to have in place as we waited for state guidelines to come out? So that was something that I started working on initially. And it has developed over time, of course, with sifting through all the information that's available, looking at proposed phase 1 guidelines from the state, the governor's office, et cetera, and really started, it seems like I've spent the last 2 months really building out the operational, very detailed step-by-step directions on how we'll operate our spas our world has, completely changed. So in conjunction with that, the spas, as well as any other area of the resorts, have online training that we've developed with our corporate director of learning and development with PCH. And all the associates will go through an online mandatory training before they start on their first shift. So that goes over in detail what the new protocols and the steps that we've taken in response to the COVID pandemic.
You guys have a new form guests need to sign about liability, et cetera?
Yes, well, I did create a consent form that asks for any type of symptoms that the guest might be experiencing, as well as if they're running a fever. We're not mandating temperature checks. However, we're offering that to the guest as an option. If they're unsure if they're running a temperature, we're able to offer a contact-free temperature check to that guest.
And Taylor, honestly, I'm not really clear with the temperature thing, because I can be asymptomatic and not have a temperature and come in and infect somebody else. And I don't know. Nobody knows, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of different information that you're hearing one way or the other. So
we're operating like kick the can when we were kids. There's rules, but there's really not rules, but there's rules, but.
No, as I left the gym this morning, I was wondering, am I running a temperature right now? I sure am burning up.
Well, probably 0.4 degrees or maybe a half a degree if you went to the gym, right?
Right.
And pumped everything up. But a lot of people say that that those endorphins help build immune system as well. So, and you know, I'm a guy who goes to the gym every day too. So I've really missed it. And I don't know what to tell my wife and our dog because we've been going on 6-mile hikes every morning. So I don't know if she's going to let me go back to the gym anymore. You know, we'll see what happens. What has traffic been like coming into the spa since you started opening?
So it's interesting. As far as this week, of course, we're going into a holiday weekend. So I have, one location that's very destination. People love traveling to this resort. Anytime during the summer, especially on holidays, has been very strong out of the gates for salon, facials, massage, etc. We're seeing very good, healthy appointment demand at that location, and layering in our providers as the appointments and the business volumes demand. So looking very healthy across the board. Some of the other locations, I had them open in a phased approach where they began taking hair and nail appointments first to work out any kinks, and then easing into the massage and facial services as we kind of were able to analyze how our protocols that we developed are working.
Did you have to take any treatments off the menu?
We haven't taken any treatments off the menu. However, we have modified some treatments as far as, even before we had to close, we were removing some of the eye pillows and making sure that anything that would touch the guest is wrapped either in some type of barrier, whether that be a disposable or something that's laundered after. As far as, heat packs are traditionally placed on the back during the massage service. So making sure that there's barriers between any type of equipment that's used in the treatment, as well as a barrier between, some of the massage tables have a table warmer if they are not built in. So making sure that we have a treatment towel barrier between that and the sheet where the guest would be lying.
Taylor, when you were communicating to your clientele, I'm guessing you had a lot of people say, please open already. I can't wait to come in, right?
Yeah, we have many guests that would like to override the governor and come right in and use our spa facilities regardless. But, we're following the state guidelines. We want it to be safe, compliant, doing the right thing. And it's great to see that people are anxious to get back into the spas.
I get a lot of questions about this. People ask about changing pricing. Have you kept your prices the same? Have you added a COVID fee to the services? Anything like that?
No COVID fees, and we haven't backed off of any pricing. So that was something that, took a lot of consideration as far as, the facility access. We like to think that that's baked into our pricing, but really selling the guest on the protocols that we've put in place, the additional steps that we've taken, even beyond what might be the minimal requirement by the state to ensure that they have a safe spa experience. And a lot of our properties have different rituals. We've discussed adding in certain hand rituals either at the beginning or the end of the service, maybe a hot towel at the front desk once the guest checks in and sanitizes their hands to really enhance that spa experience. And some of that we're already doing in our treatments, and some of that our locations are looking at implementing.
Brother, I love the way you think because I'm an extremities guy. So if you're going to give me hot towels and things, I'm in. I'm coming to Alabama because California, right. They're not sure when they're going to open here. They say mid-June, but we'll have to see how that goes. I love that thinking, Taylor, because those are those little things that add to the larger perception picture about how, especially because they can't go in the hot tub and use the steam shower, right?
Right.
So you're going to give them something else.
That's right. Yeah. Adding in elements to enhance the services that we already have existing.
Do you have any, did you have any booth people, or are they all employees of your facilities?
All are employees of our facilities. So we do have, we have used Zeal providers at one location, testing that before in the past. Obviously our goal is to use our employees first and supplement with someone like Zeal. Should we max out our staffing or have an unexpected call out. But as far as the providers we're bringing back, they're all our employees. And when they were furloughed, they were actually had the advantage of keeping our benefits while they were furloughed. So
wonderful. Do you have any, can you still take cash payments, or is it all going to be digital pay? And are you set up for like Apple Pay, et cetera?
Yes. So all of our spas are now cashless. So most already were. And so the few that were remaining, when these protocols came out, we went ahead and made those cashless spas. So either room charge. And yes, our payment processors are compliant with Apple Pay, Tap to Pay. I have my credit card saved in my Apple Wallet, so you're able to hold it up similar to like a supermarket or something that you would go to. So we're really encouraging that, just to eliminate that one touch point as far as cross-contamination, germs, et cetera, from the exchange of the credit cards.
I've always had cash in my wallet. I mean, I've been working since I'm 10. I look pretty good for 40, I know. I've always had cash. To me meant you had money, you could operate. But now people, they don't want to take cash from you. It doesn't matter the tip jar at Starbucks is filled with cash. But past that, people really want you to use digital and credit card today.
Right, that's right. It makes you wonder, when will credit cards become obsolete and everything's on a mobile device or something else. So,
by the way, Kathy and I both, I never used Apple Pay. I just thought, I don't like it. I want to control my own card. Now that I put it in there and I'm using it, I'm going, well, what was I thinking that I wasn't doing this years ago already? Why wasn't I?
Yeah, I've heard good benefits with the Apple Pay. Can't say I've used that one, but what I do use is where you're able to just input your credit card information into your iPhone and it holds it in the wallet. So you're able to just use that contact-free payment option.
Yeah, same thing for me. I mean, whether it's Apple Pay or it's not an Apple machine, you just hold the phone up, click, click, boom, done, right?
Great if you leave the house and forget your wallet. So
yeah, no one forgets their phone today, do they?
Yeah,
you might forget your wallet, but they don't forget their phone.
Yeah.
What % of capacity for treatments would you say you were in week 1, and what are you looking at in week 2 here?
Well, really this week, as we kind of move into today and tomorrow, will be the first time that we are taking appointments beyond salon services at the spas. Capacity wise, it's building as we speak. I mean, we've got 50 to 100 voicemails at various locations. They're trying to sift through all the calls from being, closed for 2 months. But I think that we'll be up to 50% capacity very soon. Of course, it would vary by location, but it's looking strong.
Taylor, I've told you this. If I lived in your neighborhood, I would be the first guy standing at your door on the first morning you open. So I look at it and say, for people like us who are healthy and don't have pre-existing conditions, I think at some point we're going to have to go out, right?
Right. That's kind of my thinking. You can't, live in a bubble for forever. And, easing back into the routine. I just started going back to the gym this morning, which is very different, starting on Monday. And it feels really good to start getting back somewhat to normalcy.
Well, I'm thankful that you could spend a few minutes with us and our listeners this morning, and it makes me smile because it's a little bit of green light or sunlight down the tunnel. And I think in the course of the next, I've got about 8 interviews set up in the next week on my schedule across the country from people opening. So it's good to hear what everything's doing. I'm sorry I haven't been seeing you at trade shows, but it might be spring next year before that. Do you guys have a policy about attending trade shows this year or anything like that?
As far as now, we've put most of that on hold, just with the focus being on getting, back up and operating. So, and of course, as we went through developing these guidelines that we operate under, of course, the safety of our guests and associates is paramount. And that's kind of what was top of mind whenever we were going through and developing these protocols. But, probably no trade shows for me for the rest of the year, but certainly would like to begin exploring, what's out there at the beginning of next year. But I think it's great how the industry's really pivoted, and there seems to be so many Zoom calls and virtual conversation going on. You could barely keep up. So.
Do you know that we had, I don't take credit for it, but Greg in our office started, we've always had a massive calendar of events, which is kind of naked these days. Mm-hmm. Everything's been pushed out, and I'm not even sure people are going to go in August starts with IECSC in New York, and I'm thinking, who's going? I love New York, but I'm not going to New York in August. I'm sorry. We've now added a virtual calendar of events. So anyone who sends us anything related to Zoom meetings and trainings or whatever, we're posting literally for everybody on our calendar, whoever calls.
That's great. Always love whenever you're able to consolidate that into one area, just because there is so much out there and you might miss the email or you aren't receiving them. So I always love, looking at your calendar and seeing.
Thank you. My wife says she's never seen me so busy doing nothing. She meant not traveling, because we travel so much. But it seems like everyone I know, if the day ends in a Y, they're working this time of year. It just, everything seems to meld into being a work day or a work time now. So I know what you're saying when you say it's hard to keep up. So Taylor, thank you a ton for spending time with us. Stay healthy and stay well.
Thanks, Allan. Thank you very much.